Hi there, this is Andrew again from Lightworks Photography, and I'm here now with the second part of this video series about how to get natural wedding photographs, or how to get natural emotion-filled and fun-filled photographs at your wedding. Um, Today we're going to have a look at a few practical things that you can do just to sort of give a context and allow this type of sort of emotion to be let out, I suppose. I don't think that us Brits aren't particularly good at being emotional or wearing our hearts on our sleeves, and I think often at a wedding there are a number of sort of junctures whereby you can sort of just help the flow of the day a little bit. Help people to feel safe in sort of expressing themselves a little bit, and therefore help your photographer get some photographs that really sort of show those sort of natural emotions and that sort of energy, hopefully. So the first thing that I think is a really good idea is there's a bit out of fashion at the moment is to have a receiving line. I know that sounds a bit sort of anti like natural photography, but as I said, we're not great sometimes at hugging and kissing, and people do want to warmly congratulate you, but often sometimes I think may not feel particularly comfortable doing it. A receiving line is sort of a container or a context to sort of go a bit wild and have a kiss and a cuddle, isn't it? And okay, it's slightly contrived, but also it makes it very easy for me to get some really nice emotional pictures. I've got some lovely pictures from receiving lines, and you know it's natural. It's the real thing, isn't it? And okay, you are being lined up, but there's a sort of emotional, I don't know, release, I think, during and after a receiving line, which is actually quite important and quite fun. I mean, obviously, if you can't bear the thought of smiling and shaking everybody's hand and hugging them for 20 minutes, they just don't do it because it'd be awful. Second thing is also to think very carefully about the seating arrangement for the speeches. Now, from a photographer's point of view, and getting these really nice sort of pictures, emotional, natural pictures, the speeches are a peak sort of time, and I'm always looking for really nice interaction shots between people reacting to what's been said, eye contacts, looks and glances. And that's very, very difficult if you have a sort of seating arrangement whereby you've got the audience, for want of a better expression, at the front, and whoever's giving the speech, you know, to the side and separate from the audience, if that makes sense. Some venues do, I think probably because of practical reasons and microphones and things, think it's a good idea to have the speakers stand out at the front. And this is awful because you're sort of standing there in isolation, and if you're a groom giving an emotional sort of speech about how beautiful your new wife looks, it's very difficult to show that photographically and to have that connection if your new partner's over here and the groom's over here. So just think really carefully. It generally works really, really well if whoever's giving a speech stands where they're sitting, and the chances are they're going to be talking to and about people that are in their close proximity, therefore makes it more natural to actually do, and actually makes it photographically a lot easier to capture and tell the story of that. Third one is a fairly logical one, is to keep the formal groups to a minimum. As a documentary or natural photographer, we need time to look, and we need time to integrate and to photograph what's actually happening. And if we're taken off to spend 45 minutes taking group photographs, that obviously cuts down the amount of time that we have available for what you're really wanting us to do. The key to this is to talk with your photographer about the key groups that you want. Plan this beforehand. Make sure you know where they're going to be, who's going to be in them. Make sure you have a wet weather plan, and you also, most importantly, have a good best man or bridesmaid who can help gather people. And actually, the groups can be done quickly and efficiently, freeing up as much time as possible for your photographer to do the natural thing, as it were. Another really, really good time for us as documentary photographers is during the ceremony. And again, that sort of close proximity is really, really important. It's very hard to get really emotional, intimate photographs from the back of a church, if that makes sense. The ideal position for a photographer is at the front to the side, where we can see faces of you exchanging vows as you turn into each other, and also hopefully get in the background pictures of your friends and family and their reaction to that. A number of officiants, vicars and registrars do sort of say, well, we prefer you were at the back. And actually, often a conversation before the ceremony from the couple saying, look, we'd really like this if the photographer was at the front, can make the difference. Also, I think a number of officiants, they worry about photographers moving around, they worry about noisy cameras, they worry about flash and interruptions like that. And I think if before the ceremony, both the couple and the photographer can talk through their reasoning as to why they want to be at the front and reassure the person that's taking the ceremony that it's not going to be intrusive at all, then often actually, you know, they are very happy for that position to be taken, and it is the sort of optimum position to get this type of photographs. Okay, next one. Give the evening party some serious thought. You probably want some fun photographs in the evening. You need to think about music. You need to think about the playlist, the DJ, the type of band you get, whether you're going to invite your guests to come and dance on the dance floor, whether you're going to dance with your parents. You know, 101 things about what's actually going to work well for you and your family and your guests in the evening to get them going on the dance floor. If you do have a DJ, you need a few sort of floor-filling songs that you know that you will like, so maybe your friends will like at the beginning. You need to prime some bridesmaids or something to get on there and start busting some moves. It's not about making up fun. It's about just initiating it and making the atmosphere right for people to enjoy themselves, and therefore for me to get the photographs of that. Similarly, during the reception time, there's normally an hour and a half or so of drinks reception between the ceremony and going in for dinner. And it's nice if your guests have something to do. Obviously, people want to talk to you and chat and communicate, and there's all those interactions which were really, really interesting. But think about maybe having a table magician can work really, really well. A table magician, as he said, stumbling his words, can work really, really well. It gives a focus. You get people's reaction shots. There's something to photograph. Giant Jenga is really good if you feel that's good. I've seen couples do quizzes. I've seen people have caricaturists. All sorts of very simple things, you know, just for people to be given something to do. The hardest thing for me as a documentary photographer during that time is if people are sitting at tables and they don't move for an hour and a half. They just sit in their little crowd and they talk, and there's no sort of interaction and there's no movement around. There's no sort of change of position and light for people. I think if people are encouraged to circulate, are encouraged to possibly do something, you know, to take part in something, to actually interact with each other, it helps, you know, the actual atmosphere is better, it's more lively and a bit more vibrant, and also photographically that can, you know, it clearly works photographically as well. My final tip is to get some confetti. You would be surprised at the number of weddings where there isn't any confetti. Get something to throw and get much, much more of it than you could possibly imagine. And my top tip for this is to avoid the sort of tunnel idea where you line up everybody and they throw it on demand, but give people stuff to chuck at you and ask them to just chuck it randomly. And that's it. It's harder to photograph, but the actual the actual end results are much more exciting and a lot more authentic and real. So, some practical things then here that you can do to just facilitate fun, facilitate the expression of emotion and help your photographer to get some really nice natural pictures. So consider the receiving line idea, avoid the awkward seating plan during the speeches, keep the formal groups to a minimum and plan them beforehand for speed, communicate with your officiant about the photographer's position during the ceremony, give the evening party some serious thought into the type of music and entertainment you're going to have. Give guests something to do at your reception, games and Jenga and so forth, or entertainment, and get some confetti to throw. I hope that's been really, really helpful. The next one of this series, the second one, is going to be a little bit about getting you in the right mindset to enjoy your wedding, which sounds a bit weird, but allowing you the freedom to be expressive, allowing you the freedom and the headspace just to have fun on your day, and to really, really make sure that your wedding is completely sort of natural and fun. Okay, hope that was helpful. Thanks very much. See you in the next video.